Welcome back. In this part, we will learn about functions. Yes, first let's talk about what is a function. Function, yeah, it's good to answer this. Yeah, a function is a set of or a block of code that perform a certain task. Yeah, it may take an input and it returns an output. It gives you or provides you an output. Yeah, we can use functions as many as we want. We can reuse function. We can reuse functions. We write once and reuse it. For instance, the built-in function, you can call it many times. It's like that. A function can be a built-in function or custom function. Yeah, this is some of the properties. So what are the built-in functions? You know now what the print does. Everybody knows you have to pass an input. For instance, I love Python. It's an input, another input. Now the time is 2021, and maybe you can add any input you want. It could be any kind of data types. Yeah, you can put anything as a part, as an argument. We call this argument. Argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. How many arguments do we have in this print function? You tell me. Yeah, I told you already. It's 3, right? Yeah. Yes, it's just 3. Okay. So as you can see, we have printed out. These are the outputs. We have 3, 1, 2, 3. Now let me ask you again. Print A, maybe again B, and then again C. How many arguments do we have here? Please tell me how many arguments? 3. Okay. What's the name of the function?
Print.
Print. Great. So function should have a name. So now let's create our own function. To create a function, we have to use def. It is a reserved word, or it's a keyword that allows us to create a function. It's followed by name of a function. So this could be any name you want. And then you may have an input, a parameter, or without. Then you can say print I am a function. So now I created my first function that print this text. Okay, then if I run this, do I get a value? Nope, I can't get a value because I didn't call you. Let's do some experiment. Imran. Or I don't know, but there is Imran in this room, right? Or Oscar. You should say yes or react. I know you have been reacted already.
Yes.
Yeah, so they reacted, these people, because they are called by their name. So let's call this function by its name. What's the name of this function?
Name of function.
Name of function. And then now when I'm calling it, if I run, I am a function. Okay, let's change this to something else. Do something. Okay, and then I can say this also. I am teaching. It is something too. And now I have to change this to the name now. What's the name of the function now?
Do something.
Do something. Now let's see. As you can see, I am teaching and it's something. Okay. Oh, let's just leave this function like that, and let's continue to do something else. Do the def make square. Make square takes a parameter, but let's forget about it. So now I can say print 2 times 2. And now if I run, I didn't get anything. Why?
So we have to close the function, or?
Yes, I have to call the function. If it's not called, it doesn't work. Yes, it's 4. But you know, this function is dumb. It's a dumb function that it just give 4 all the time. Do you want a function like that? No. It should work differently. It should take an input. Okay, I can call it n. N is just like a placeholder. Now we call it a parameter, and now n times n. So when we call this n, could be anything. Now I'm just calling it 2. 4. How about if I just call it like this many times? That's why we can call it many times. How about if it's 3? It should be 9. If it's 10, it should be 100. If it is 11, it should be 121. If it is 9, it should be 81, right? Oh yeah, that's the power of function. We just created like this here, and now we can reuse it. We can call it many times. If I call you one of you many times, do you bother? No, it's okay. It's you are aware of your name, and you should be okay to be called. Okay, but it's not exactly the same, but it's almost like that. Function is not as difficult as you thought, right? How is it going, guys?
Yeah, it's good.
It's good, right?
Wow.
Yes, but now let's change the game a bit. Printing like this in a function doesn't mean anything. Instead, we should return the value, okay? Let's just return the value. We have to return, to save, to develop an application, we have to return the value, okay? Now, instead of doing this also, I can just return, I can make the square first. Square, for instance, is, what am I doing that? Okay, and then now, and the times or like this, and you can return square. And yeah, but now, if I just run this, you don't see anything. The reason why I have to print this, and then also I have to print this value. Okay, I can add print, and it's not that much. Yeah, so now again it works. So remember to return. Now let's create another function called add 2 nums. Have you seen this function do have actually, does this function a clear goal, right? The clear purpose, right? Don't you see it from its name? You should see it, right? So it should have a parameter. It could be x and y or a and b. A and b is so easy. Then the value that it just should return a plus b. As simple as this. Okay, now let's check the add sum of 2 numbers, 1 and 9. What are you expecting from here?
10.
Yes, 10. And if I give you this, what are you expecting from this?
0.
It should be 0. And what do you expect from this? Because we have to check if our function is properly working, guys. 99. Yes, it's working. Great. So this is a function. So let's see if we get a better example there than something that we have to use. Yes, a gateful name, for instance, a gateful name is a very good function for us. Now let's do def. Print full name. It should take first name and the last name of the person. And the full name should be first name, last space, last name, and should return full name. Yeah. Now let's just print full name, and I want to pass my name as in argument and my last name, and then and I would do this for other people too. Famous people, Donald and Trump and Steve Jobs and John Doe. Let's see. As you can see, it just print one once we created it, and it just print. Now let's do one more function, a function that actually sum all numbers. Okay, do you remember how to create numbers for I in range? You can say 0 to 0, 1. I mean 1 to this prints number. Sorry. So from 0 to 100, yeah? Yes. Now if I ask you to create maybe the sum of numbers. Sum of numbers, first you have to say total. Maybe you can say 0 here, and then instead of printing, I can say total is equal to total plus I. And then print total, and then let's see. As you can see, we got the total. Now we can change this to a function. Okay. Def sum of numbers. You never know. Up to where? Up to n. And let's just paste this inside. As you can see. Now total is this one, as you can see, up to n plus 1. And we return this value. Now this will do, let me show you the magic now. Print sum of all numbers. What's the sum of all numbers from 0 to 3? The sum of all numbers from 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? I think it seems to me 6. Let's check it. Oh, I forgot to say total. Yep, it seems working. Have you seen it? Yes, great. Yes. And if we say 10, I think it's up to 10. Is it 15? Something, oh, 55. Oh, it shouldn't be because, yeah. So if you go print sum of numbers up to 100, then we should get, yeah. So great. Let's see. What did we have to cover? Yeah, this is everything the same. Sometimes we may use default parameters. How about if I ask you to calculate the weight of a body? Maybe weight means mass times gravity, mass times gravity. So for instance, I can say the mass of someone's is 375, gravity of Earth 9.81. So the weight is going to be this. Yeah, so let's just print the value because it's just multiplication actually. It doesn't need much of a thinking. Yeah, you have this. But this is not a function. We have to change it to a function, right? If we change it to a function, we can change the mass, the gravity, and we can calculate. So let's change it to def calculate weight of a body, a physical object that has mass and gravity. Yep. Now this is a parameter. And then now let's put it in here and indent. We don't need this inside because it's coming from the parameter. And even we don't have to even calculate it like this. We can just return it right away. Like this. This is good enough. But imagine if we are spending like most of the time, we are on planet Earth. So we don't have to put like the gravity. We can make the gravity default. So we can calculate, then print, calculate of the weight of the object or the person, it doesn't matter. For instance, 75, I'm 75 and I would be 735.75 Newton. But how about what would be my weight in moon? Moon gravity, I think it's very small, as you can see, 1.62. Then we can say print calculate 75 and 1.62. As you can see here, since I am on planet Earth, I didn't pass the gravity because I used the gravity as in default here. But if I'm changing planet, I have to use different gravity. Now let's check. Yes, here is I am so small, I mean lightweight. So I think this is not easy to read. Let's round. Do you remember the round method? I can use round, and to the next 2 digit or maybe 1, it would be good. Now as you can see, it's good. Yeah, I'm rounding. Even if you don't want anything, you can just round and there's no decimal. But that's not all the time very good. So I can say 1 significant digit could be okay. Great. Let's move on. For instance, if I ask you to create a function that checks even.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you set a default value in the function and then call it with some other value, so the other value overrides the default value that's
Yes.
within the function.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. The new value will override. But if you don't give a value, the default value will be used. That's the concept.
Yes.
For instance, if we give also, for instance, the mass 100. Now, if I just say print, and then if I say calculate, now even I don't have to have an argument here, because the default value will be used. So I am expecting 981.
Yeah.
Yes, as you can see.
All right.
Great. Let's move on. Now, if I ask you a function that check even or odd, I can say check number, def check number, and I have to say the number and it should say if n divisible by 2, it should be 0, and it should return even, or else it should be odd. Have you seen this is a function that says odd or even? So let's say print check number. So is 0 odd or even? It should be even. Even, yes. How about if I put 5? Everybody knows this odd. How about if I put 7 or 11? And all these are odds. Yeah. If you want even more even number, this one, for instance, 6 or 4. Let's go for 6 even. Yeah, the most important part of writing a function, you can reuse it, you can check, you can test it. That's the power of a function. Let's see more. Default value we have seen. Arbitrary number of arguments. Have you seen, by the way, now if you see one parameter like this, you should pass one argument. If you see two parameters like this, you should pass 2. Of course, in this case, you can pass 2 or 1 because it has default parameters. And in this case, you should pass 2 parameters. Yeah, I mean 2 arguments. And again, later, yeah. If you remember print, how many arguments a print function take? Tell me, guys. How many? How many does it take?
A lot of.
Unlimited. Yeah, so now if I ask you add numbers is a function and it takes A, B, C, whatsoever, how do you make something like that? I will show you. Def add nums is a function that is going to be print. We have this dot and args. The args could be any, like you can call it whatever, but if you have this star next to this, it changes to tuple. Let me just print args. Then I have to call the function add. Now I'm expecting a tuple, by the way. Nothing happened there. Why? Oh, I didn't call it yet. Yeah, have you seen this tuple? Yeah. And the most surprising thing, if you pass 3, 4, 5, these numbers will be also comes out as in tuple. Great, it's coming from here. Now we can sum these guys together. So total 0. And then we can say for I in args, because it's like a sequence, it's a tuple. Then we can say total equals total plus I, and then return total. So we have to print this to get out. Now we have created a function that actually takes unlimited number of arguments. You can put 5, you can put 50, you can 200, you can do whatever, 300, 500, minus 2000, whatever. So just do this and the result is here. So we just created an awesome function. The name of the function add nums can take unlimited number of arguments or arbitrary number of arguments. Yep. I think this is good enough, actually, the function part. And I strongly recommend you guys to go through this and you will be okay, and revise the video, and let's call it a day. I have to stop in here, but if you have a question, please let me know. Do you have any question?
What will be for the next